Welcome to Pastor. I'm your host, Tim Reynolds, and we are so glad that you joined us today. I want to apologize. Last week I didn't air a program, and if you went looking for it, you noticed that. Well, sometimes we get tied up as pastors, and we're not able to do some of the things that we plan to do. But I'm back with you today, and hope that this is a blessing to you. We want to make an impact and have an effect in the ministry that you're involved in. So today we're going to look at social media. I've been doing social media now for quite some time, and I learn every day. There's something new I'm learning. There's something they're changing about social media that we have to change with that. So you're always learning something new. Well, today I want to talk to you about having an effective church social media strategy. And I think it's important that you have that. We're going to basically look at 7 keys that I think will help you in progressing and doing what you can in social media. Social media is here to stay, and some churches have done well as early adopters of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But many churches are still either hesitant to use social media or are using it poorly and not seeing any positive results from it. As the impact of social media grows, it would be unwise to continue to ignore your church's social media strategy and presence that it may have. And like any other ministry in the church, social media needs planning, a strategy. It needs people, someone in charge, and it needs a purpose, a measurable goal to be effective. These 7 keys that I'm going to talk about today will help your church engage both members and guests in your social media. So the first one is have a clearly designated point person. I know personally I've sort of done it all by myself for the longest, and here recently I've appointed someone to be over our Twitter and our Instagram account. I'm still the primary person for the Facebook, but I've also had that person linked into that as well, and they're doing a great job. Each day they're posting something up better than what I was doing, that's for sure. I can tell they're taking it to heart. And you'd be surprised the person you may have in your church that could do the very same thing. So have a point person. If no one is responsible for the social media communication of your church, the chances of being effective are very low. So someone, whether paid or a volunteer, should be responsible to see that schedules are followed, content is posted, and standards are being met. If your goals call for daily tweets and nothing has been tweeted for 2 weeks, you need a structure of accountability in place to get back on track. Without a designated point person, church social media can be haphazard and will ultimately hurt the ministry and the reputation of your local church. I had an individual tell me the other day that they were asked to put something on their church's social media, and they're not the point person, but they have access to it. And they put something together, and it was taken down, and they went and they asked the person that was in charge, why did you take it down? And they said that it didn't go with the brand that they were trying to present. Now that was hard for that individual to accept, because they thought what they put up was good stuff. They thought that it was appropriate, and it wasn't anything bad, but it just wasn't in the branding that the local church was wanting to present. So if you have a lead person that will do that, it will have an effect in your church. And number 2 is understand the difference in the channels. It seems obvious, but Twitter is not Facebook, and neither of them are Instagram. Each social media channel has advantages and disadvantages and is best served with specific content for its audience and format. For instance, Twitter and Facebook are the most alike in that links and photos work well for these platforms. Quotes will fall flat on Facebook, but not on Twitter, and Twitter isn't the best for photo galleries or events. Facebook is. So speaking of photos and links, on Instagram, photos and links aren't active in the body of the post. When you post content online, remember what works best for each channel. Also, in that, you're going to find that each one of these channels is going to reach an audience in age demographic probably that the other one isn't reaching. There's also another one out there called Snapchat. I'm not real familiar with that, but I do know that it reaches a younger crowd, more of your teenagers. But you've got Facebook, and Facebook is reaching more of the older crowd. Twitter and Instagram is going to reach a younger crowd. You're going to see that when you're plugging into those platforms, it will reach that age group. So the third thing is integrate social media into your current communication plan. One big mistake many churches make in social media is separating it from what they're already trying to communicate. Use your church's weekly newsletter or bulletin. Whether you do it weekly or monthly, use that bulletin or that calendar to shape the content of your social media channel. And while you match the type of content to the channel, always consider the shareability of the post. Think of it this way. If someone sees this, will they want to share it with their friends? If the answer is no, consider a shift in content or a call to action in that. You want the things that you're posting to have an effect. You want people to like it. You're going to want people to share it. And number 4 is monitor channels for feedback and response. You know, if you're just posting things up and you're not responding to the comments or looking at what's going on, you're not going to see the response and the effect that you should through social media. Social media is not a one-way street. The entire purpose of social media is to be social. This requires dialogue, it requires listening and responding to questions. While not every comment requires a response, if you find yourself getting asked the same question time and time again, you may want to consider adding a fact page. If people come to your website or your Facebook or Instagram and they've got questions, there's some place that they can go and they can get the answers for that. And number 5 is have a clearly defined goal for each channel. While it's great to have an ever-growing number of followers online, having increased followers as goals isn't the best way to measure effectiveness. You may say, well, wait a minute, if we've got thousands of people following us, isn't that good? It is good, but don't measure your success on that. For instance, John and Mary, they may invite all their friends on their Facebook to like your church's channel. And they may like it simply because of their friend has asked them to like it. And they start following that. There's a lot of things that they may follow that they never look at. So don't look at the followers you're having online as success. Set a measurable and a timely goals for engagement and effectiveness rather than simply trying to increase your followers count. You're going to see a huge difference when you do that because you're taking time and you're putting content out that people are going to want to look at, they're going to want to read, they're going to want to listen to. And number 6 is use tools for efficiency. Use tools that you can analyze what's going on those platforms. Once you've set your goals, you need to track them using tools. And I haven't used these tools, but these are some that are out there. And we're planning on implementing them ourselves. Is Buffer, Hootsuite. They allow you to monitor, to engage, to schedule, and analyze your social media accounts. Also, spend some time in the areas of, for instance, Facebook. If we put up a post and we've got so many likes, we can go and we can look at the wave of response, engagements that people have on that certain post. Good example of that is we do our live feed every Sunday morning, and where it may say we have 300 views, that doesn't necessarily mean 300 people watched it. It means that it came across them and they may have seen it, But you can go in and you can see how many people clicked on it, how many people watched it for 3 seconds or more. And these are good ways to analyze what's going on your accounts. You'll be amazed, or maybe even possibly frightened at what these things can tell you about your audience. And number 7 is promote social media channels through the traditional means when possible. If you're going to use social media as one of your church tools, tell your members and your guests about it. Put the logos and usernames for your accounts on bulletins, newsletters, promotional material. If you want your members and guests to engage with you online, they need to know where to find you. I know we have our Facebook page information on our cups that we give our guests when they come. You'll find it on cards. You'll find it on our welcome packets. You'll find it in different places where people can connect. Facebook is one of our primary sources that we use. We're just here recently, we're branching out more into Instagram and Twitter, and we're seeing some effect with that. We've got some people that are now checking us out through those platforms. So I want to encourage you, get these things active in your church. They are tools that are there for you. They don't cost you a penny to do. Now, there are ways that it can cost you money, and that's through advertisement. And nothing's wrong with that. I think if you have an event coming up that you want to target your area, you can target a 10, 20-mile area from your church and so many people and spend so much a day. You may say, well, isn't that expensive? You know, it can be dollars on the day. That's not bad for advertisement. And what that's going to do is when you send that out, it's going to run across these people, even if they're not followers or friends of your church or you or someone in your congregation. These advertisements are going to come across their feed, and they're going to see that there's an event going on, and they may want to get involved. Good example of that is VBS. If you're going to do a VBS this summer, you want a month out, you want to start advertising that and boosting that in your community, you can do that through social media. So I got a question for you, and you can leave comments on this or go to our Facebook page and respond. But where has your church found success in social media? Share that with us. Maybe you're at a place where your social media presence is growing, and there's things that you have done or your team has done that has created that success. Share it with us. Let us know what you're doing that's working so that other churches can do the same thing. Thank you for being with us today. We want to encourage you, get involved with what's going on around you in your community. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.